All right, I'm back. This is a video about the 200-600 and specifically using it to film bears. So if you are a person that has been thinking about buying this, I thought I would just kind of share my findings going out on this bear trip to show you what I got so you can kind of see the footage and just kind of talk about the realizations and findings and all that sort of stuff that I had along the way. I just kind of made some notes and we'll just kind of burn through them loosey-goosey, and you can kind of get an idea, I hope, if this is a good choice for you to own this lens. So all of the clips you're going to see today were filmed in the same day with this rig, which is the Sony 200-600 on my Sony FX6, tripod legs, which this needs another video on its own because I love this thing, but honestly, I wish I went bigger. Maybe we'll talk about that. And I had an external monitor for the fun of it. Not something you definitely need. Oh, and you know what's not on here is that I had a Z Finder eyepiece where you can stick your eye up to it. I did have that on there. Again, it's a nice to have, not a needed, but that's not on right now. But this more or less is the lens. I'd hike it out there, 45 minutes, I think, each way. That was rough because I wore gum boots, but otherwise would have been fine. It looks like a lot, but it's honestly, once you're determined to get somewhere, you can do it. I strapped the tripod to my backpack, hand carried the camera. That's how I did it. But yes, it was heavy. It was a lot of work to get out there. Yeah, all right, right off the list. Now, the first thing I should probably say, if you've never seen any of my other videos, is that I love this lens. So if you want to know if I think this is a good lens to own, it is. We can get that out of the way. I've made, I think, a few other videos about this lens. It is one of the first major lenses I owned, and I still use it probably the most, be that in my own wildlife filming or on documentaries or reality television that I have been getting hired to work on as well. It is just a workhorse of a lens. It is great. And actually, maybe that's where we'll start. The focal range is actually kind of incredible. 200-600 is a lot. I know there's more, like there's the Sigma 60-600, which is substantial, I admit. But 200-600 is no slouch. Like the lens I'm filming this with is the 16-28. And that is like, you know, this much of a change in focal range compared to 200-600. So what does that equate to? It lets me get wide shots, medium shots, and close-ups, so I can build sequences, believable storylines where, you know, maybe it starts on a bear's paws, and then it goes to a shot of its face, and then it goes to a wider shot where you see the whole body walking away, or a wide of a bear jumping into the river. I think I've got this footage in here, also try and have it up, and then it walking along with the fish on a tighter shot, and then maybe back to a wide of it walking off into the forest. You know, like there's ways to tell a story with your lens, and being able to adjust and get all of these different pieces of the puzzle while you're filming, that's awesome. It's my favorite thing about this lens. And another thing I really appreciate about this lens is its manual focus feel. It's very usable. Some of them are just too jumpy, but this one you kind of get the hang of after a while. And that's how I primarily shoot with it. I know a lot of people have great autofocus in their cameras, so this might not be important to them. But for me, in filming video of animals, it really is. The FX6 has great human autofocus, but it's kind of terrible at animals. It thinks their ear or their nose, their nostril is their eye often. It just misses a lot. And I just need to be able to control it in real speed. So just know that you can. Once you learn the focus wheel, you're not going to have a problem with it. You'll probably come to prefer it, if I'm honest. Now let's talk about maybe a con. Why not? Let's switch it up. 600 millimeters on this thing, which is where you're going to want to live most of the time because we're always trying to get closer, is kind of soft. It's not as sharp of an image as you're going to wish it was. And I didn't know that buying this lens. You know, it's like, it is a good lens. It looks good, but 600 millimeters is just kind of consistently sharp, like not that sharp, kind of across a bunch of them. I mean, maybe all of them. I've used multiples of this lens, not just the one I own. 600 is just generally not recommended to use. I definitely do use it sometimes. It just feels right, but often if I back it up to 500, maybe up to 550, the image looks a lot sharper. So that's kind of worth knowing, and it's a little bit of a hack with this lens. Back it off just a little bit, you will get a sharper image that I think is worth it, worth that cost of not being right at 600 millimeters. I wish it was sharper at 600 because I would live there a lot, but just backing it off a little bit, it makes a difference. The other thing I do to combat that, because, well, it is a relatively sharp lens, it's not as sharp as like the G Master F4 600 millimeter. That thing is crazy sharp. I just increase my f-stop a little bit. So instead of shooting at my lowest f-stop, I'll just go up to f9, f10, f11, whatever I need to, as long as I have the light to do so. And you'll find that often actually improves the image, because you don't have to be at your lowest f-stop to get a bokeh with this lens. At any kind of high millimeter lens, it's just like obliterates the background no matter what you do. And with animals, like a black bear being a perfect example, if you are at their eye, it's really easy to have their nose out here look out of focus, and that doesn't look good. They're not as flat as people's faces. So you actually want to make sure you increase that depth a little bit to get kind of a better picture of your subject. So that'll help your sharpness a lot. And another thing that is like crazy important to know about this lens, or really just if you're trying to get into wildlife videography or filmmaking, whatever you want to call it, stabilizing and getting smooth shots like I've been showing you is really hard. I had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get to where this is at, and there's kind of still like another 10-15% of stable footage that I wish I had. And that comes down to a few things. First off, a big lens like this is heavy, so you have to have a tripod that can handle that weight. But it's also kind of weirdly proportioned. So for example, this lens right here is still a little front heavy. You would think that this camera would be heavier than it is, but it's really light. I put this battery on here specifically to bring the center of balance back further and make it heavier on the back end. So often I'll move this monitor further back if I really, really am worried about it. I've got counterweights I sometimes put on for this reason. I can put on 2 different batteries to increase the weight. It's all about creating a balanced rig so your tripod can actually properly, handle the movements. But also a heavy enough rig to not have micro jitters. And that's where a bigger rig comes in. You'll especially notice this on handheld footage, which obviously you're not doing with this lens probably, but the same concept kind of encompasses all of this for when it comes to stable footage. Is there's micro jitters and then there's just movement. And micro jitters are the worst in my mind. It's like that just little super quick shake that can't be considered natural looking, where some movement can be natural. But with a tripod, I don't want any of that. And even with this giant rig here, if I grab this handle like that, there's a big shake. So I have to grab it before I want to be rolling and then ease into the movement. You do develop a touch. And as you've seen, we got, what I consider to be really nice shots out of this. But it's like, I wish I bought a bigger tripod. I wish I spent another $1,000 on a tripod. That's a hard pill to swallow if you're just getting into this. So, I don't want to discourage people. I want people to get into this, but maybe getting this lens with the idea of photography, that's easier to achieve. You get in a moment. You don't need consistent clean images where shake really matters. It's, it's just a lot, but I want to be honest that stabilizing this thing is tricky. So don't expect to have a little photography tripod and get smooth video. You can get lock-offs. You can totally do that. Shoot slow-mo as slow as you can, and that will help with this as well. But you're going to know what I mean as soon as you get into this. So you'll just slowly invest in stable footage. Now, maybe the last thing I'll bring up in this video is my love for how this lens doesn't extend. Like the Sigma 60-600, very nice lens. I hate that it extends. I hate kind of any lens that does, and I do own at least one. It's just better when they don't. Like moisture and dust can't get in there. They're better weather sealed. They don't fog up as easily. That's huge. So if you heat your car because you're driving somewhere like the west coast of Canada to film black bears, and then you jump out and all your gear's foggy, that's a bummer. You're losing light. You're losing moments. This thing is really good at this. It just is well sealed. It's going to handle light rain. It's going to handle snow. I do have weather protection for it because I'm careful like that. But It's just good. I just know this thing is solid. I want to give it a good props on how solid of a lens it is. I love this thing. If you're getting into wildlife filmmaking or photography, or just, if you need a long lens, a 600mm lens, and you have a Sony camera, I do think this is the best choice you could make. They're great. Full stop. I mean, I guess that's it. Here's some more bear footage to see us out, I guess. I hope you like this. If you're interested in other parts of my rig, you want to know how I like the FX6 for wildlife, or the tripod, anything like that, please let me know in the comments. I would love to. I do want to get back into this YouTube thing kind of over the winter, because I had the craziest freaking year of working on wildly cool reality TV shows and documentaries all over the world. It was awesome. So many stories to tell, but I want to do more of this. So I hope you like this. I hope this was helpful. Adios. Links for everything in the description. Cheers.
Don't go thinking it's a big deal, unreal, everybody